I found out my best friend of 12 years was sleeping with my husband. Not from him. Not from her. From a stranger at a coffee shop who thought I already knew. Hey everyone, welcome back to Verdict Stories. If you're new here, hit subscribe right now because I post new stories every week and trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming. Today's story destroyed me when I first read it. This is betrayal on a level that is almost impossible to understand. Let's get into it. My name is Jess. I'm 33 years old. And until 8 months ago, I had what I thought was a perfect life. I had a husband named Mark who I had been with for 7 years, married for 3. I had a career I loved. I had a beautiful apartment. And I had my best friend Amy, who had been my best friend since we were 21 years old, since we met on the first day of a job we both hated and bonded over how much we hated it. 12 years. 12 years of friendship. Birthdays, breakups, promotions, losses. Amy was the maid of honor at my wedding. She gave a speech that made everyone cry. She talked about how she had never seen me as happy as I was with Mark. She said, "He is exactly what Jess deserves. I want you to remember that speech. Because it matters later." Mark and I had been having problems. I won't pretend we were perfect. The last year had been hard, we were both stressed with work. We weren't communicating well, we had grown a little distant. It happens in marriages. We were working on it. Or so I thought. During this difficult period, Amy was my rock. She was always available to talk, always willing to listen, always full of advice. When I cried about Mark on the phone at midnight, she stayed on the line for 2 hours. When I said I was scared our marriage was falling apart, she told me, "Jess, he loves you. Don't give up." She told me not to give up on my marriage. While she was sleeping with my husband, here is how I found out. 8 months ago I was in a coffee shop near my office on a Tuesday morning. A woman came up to me, I had never seen her before in my life, and she said, "Are you Jess?" I said yes. She said, "I'm sorry to do this here. But I think you need to know. I saw your husband with a woman last weekend. At a restaurant. It wasn't friendly. I recognized you from his Instagram. I thought someone should tell you." She showed me a photo on her phone. Mark and Amy. At a restaurant I had never been to. His hand on hers across the table. The way they were looking at each other, I thanked the woman. I don't remember what I said exactly. I walked out of the coffee shop. I sat on a bench outside and I stared at the photo she had texted me for a very long time. Then I called Amy. She picked up on the second ring. Happy voice. "Hey. What's up?" I said. "I need to ask you something and I need you to tell me the truth." Silence. I said, "Are you sleeping with Mark?" The silence lasted 4 seconds. I counted. 4 seconds where my best friend of 12 years decided what to say. She said, "Jess, I can explain." Quick pause. If this story is hitting you hard, hit subscribe. I post new stories every week and I promise next week's is just as intense. I hung up. I drove home. Mark was at work. I went through his phone, something I had never done in 7 years together, and I found everything. Messages going back 9 months. 9 months. Our entire difficult year, the year I was crying to Amy on the phone, the year I was scared about my marriage, they had been together for 9 months. Some of the messages made me physically sick. There was one message from Amy to Mark that said, "She called me crying again last night. I feel terrible." And Mark had replied, "Don't. This isn't your fault." She felt terrible. She felt terrible and she kept going. I packed a bag and I went to my sister's house. I didn't call Mark. I didn't call Amy. I sat at my sister's kitchen table and I told her everything and she held my hand and didn't say a word until I was done. Then she said, "What do you need?" I said, "I need to not fall apart." She said, "Too late for that." Fall apart. I'll put you back together. Mark showed up at my sister's house that evening. My sister told him to leave. He called 40 times over the next 3 days. His texts went from apologetic to defensive to desperate. In one text he said, "This wouldn't have happened if things had been better between us." He blamed the marriage. "He blamed me," Amy texted once. She said, "I know there's nothing I can say. But I'm sorry. You are my best friend and I'm so sorry." I didn't reply. I filed for divorce 6 weeks later. Mark contested it at first, then stopped. We are currently finalizing everything. Amy has tried to reach out 4 times. Through texts, through mutual friends, through a letter she sent to my sister's address, a handwritten letter, 3 pages, explaining how it happened, how it wasn't planned, how she hated herself. I haven't read past the first paragraph. My sister thinks I should eventually read the full letter. She says closure matters. Some of my other friends are split, a few have quietly stayed in contact with Amy, which is their choice and I respect it even though it hurts. One friend told me, "She made a terrible mistake but she's still Amy." I said, "The Amy I knew wouldn't have done this." I posted on Reddit because I was struggling with one specific question. Not whether to divorce Mark, that decision was clear. But whether I was wrong to completely cut off Amy with no conversation, no confrontation, just silence. Was I the asshole for not giving her a chance to explain? Reddit was overwhelming. The top comment, with over 58,000 upvotes, said, "She listened to you cry about your marriage for 9 months while she was the reason it was falling apart. There is no explanation for that. There is no conversation that fixes that. NTA, and you owe her nothing." Another comment said, "The fact that she said 'I feel terrible' in those messages and kept going anyway tells you everything about who she really is. Feeling bad and stopping are 2 different things. She chose to feel bad and continue." And one comment that I keep coming back to, "She gave a speech at your wedding about how much you deserved to be loved. And then she spent a year making sure you weren't. That's not a mistake. That's a choice, made over and over again, every single day for 9 months, every single day for 9 months. I don't know who I'm angrier at, Mark, for the obvious reasons. Or Amy, for the 12 years that now feel like a lie. Maybe both. Maybe neither. Maybe I'm just tired." Was I the asshole for going silent? Reddit said no. I think they're right. Some silences are the loudest thing you can say. Let me know in the comments, would you have confronted her? Or would you have gone silent like I did? Drop your verdict, NTA or YTA, and if you're new here, welcome to Verdict Stories. Hit subscribe. I post every week, and I read every single comment. See you in the next one.